Yo, trainers, welcome back to Pokélytics, where we don't argue about which Pokemon's cooler, we let the stats do the talking. And today, we're turning the dial way up with two absolute legends the psychic powerhouse created in the lab, Mewtwo, versus the sky serpent that literally stops world ending natural disasters, Rayquaza. Both are terrifying, both are iconic, but if you ever went to head in a clean 1v1, no teammates, no gimmicks, who's actually coming out on top? And here at Pokélytics, we're going to break that down for you today. So, how are we going to decide the stats battle? What about factors are we going to use? How are we going to determine who's the real winner, even though we're not really doing any simulation fights here? So, first thing we're going to look at is the stat breakdown. We're going to look at the stats for each of these Pokemon to really understand what they're bringing to the table. After that, we're going to look at typing and abilities. We're going to see what types are effective, non effective against both of our competitors today, followed by the battle style and strategic impact of each of these Pokemon. Mewtwo's fight is probably a lot different than Rayquaza fights, both coming from different generations. Then lastly, we're going to look at the matchup. What true impacts can have on this battle and what we're going to see determine the ultimate winner of this stat battle. All right, let's set the stage with a little lore. Mewtwo was literally created to be the strongest Pokemon ever. It's got psychic powers, emotional trauma, and a permanent spot in the Hall of Fame. First introduced as the boss of Generation 1, and let's be real, it still feels like a boss today. Now, for Mewtwo's stats, he's got about 680 base state total, which is standard for covered legends. But his HP is about 106, attack 110, defense 90, special attack 154, special defense 90, and speed 130. That's what I call a surgical killer stat spread. It's blazing fast, hits like a truck, and doesn't even need to set up to threaten a sweep. Now, let's take a peek at Rayquaza. Rayquaza, on the other hand, is ancient. It lives in the stratosphere, descends only when the planet is in danger or breaking up a rivalry between two other legendaries, and shuts down the other weather gods like it's clocking in for work. But again, it's got the same base stat total as Mewtwo, but it's got its own little different advantages and disadvantages. Its HP is 105, attack 150, defense 90, special attack 150, special defense 90, and speed 95. Rayquaza is power incarnate. It's got some of the highest offensive pressure in the game, and it's mixed, so you can't even wall it its usual way. But that speed, definitely a drawback compared to Mewtwo, and we'll see how that plays later on. It's typing time, and I don't mean on a keyboard. Mewtwo is a pure psychic type, clean and classic. That gives it weakness to dark, ghost, and bug, which are pretty common these days. But offensively, psychic is strong into poison and fighting, which are also everywhere. Its ability, pressure, not flashy, but great for stalling out opponents with low moves. Bonus points if you're into a long-term control. Now, Rayquaza comes in with that dragon flying typing, which means a 4 times ice weakness. That's going to hurt. It's also weak to fairy, rock, and dragon, so yeah, it's got more threats to worry about. But it resists common types like fire, grass, and fighting, which helps a lot in broader battles. Its ability, Airlock, shuts down all weather effects while it's on the field. That's huge if opponents rely on rain boost or storm chip damage. All right, so again, we're not going to be able to really do our own battle and our own focus. Again, everyone's going to come with a different move set. Everyone's going to use different ways to fight with Mewtwo and Rayquaza. But let's take a look at some kind of style and strategic that they may use in battle. So let's shift our focus to how these two actually function in battle, the roles they tend to play, and what makes them uniquely dangerous. Mewtwo is a tempo controller. It comes in fast, hits hard, and usually forces immediate switches. It doesn't need a setup. Its base stats are strong enough to threaten almost everything out of the gate. It's also versatile. It can go on all-out defense, pivot into support roles, or even bulky calm mindsets in the right format. Mewtwo thrives in high-speed formats, where winning the battle first turn means everything. It rarely needs help to get going. It's just that strong on its own. Now, Rayquaza, let's not count him out. On the other hand, is a definition of offensive flexibility. It can go special, physical, or mixed depending on what your team needs. It also fits into hyper-offensive builds, double teams, and let's be honest, it's the backbone of anything built around raw damage. But Rayquaza does need a little help. Whether that's screens, hazard removal, or just careful timing, it shines brightest when someone's setting the stage for it. And while it's slower than Mewtwo, Rayquaza can still use priority, pivot moves, and unpredictability to even the odds, especially in formats where its Mega Form or Z moves are legal in the battle. So, how does this direct match going to play out? Mewtwo has the speed advantage, and when you're dealing with something as glass cannon as Rayquaza, that's often game over. Remember that 4-time ice weakness? Mewtwo has more than enough special covers to take advantage of it, even without building specifically for Rayquaza. Now, Rayquaza can hit back hard. It doesn't really matter if it goes physical or special, anything it connects with will hurt. But the big issue is getting to move at all. Mewtwo has that survivability. And then also with Rayquaza, it's got that unpredictability. Even though it is a little slower, it can kind of go back and forth between that physical and special kind of attacks back and forth. But in a clean 1v1, no terrain, no items, Mewtwo wins that race almost every time. Both of these legends are broken in their own way. Rayquaza brings unmatched firepower, incredible versatility, and the ability to break entire teams if you give it an inch. But Mewtwo, it brings certainty, speed, power, pressure, and that kind of stat spread that doesn't leave room for mistakes. So in a straight up battle where both of their peak with no outside help, winner, Mewtwo. Rayquaza might rule the skies, but when it comes to raw consistency and solo performance, the lab experiment still reigns supreme. And that's it for another round of Pokélytics. 2 monsters, 1 winner. Let me know what your take. Are you riding with the Psychic Legend or backing the Dragon of the Heavens? Drop your pick in the comments and tell me what legendary face-off we should break down next, or any kind of goofy face-offs. I'm open to all of them. Also, if you want a clean infographic of this episode or want to support the channel, check out that link tree below. Full battle visuals, stat spreads, and more. Hit that like, sub, and bell. And remember, on Pokélytics, we don't guess who's stronger. We just run the numbers. All right, catch you later.